Hey guys, welcome back. It is FAQ number 15, and our first question is one I get asked a lot recently. What is the quickest way to meet people and make friends once I get to Japan? Well, it isn't as easy as just walking up to people or having people walk up to you and begin friendly conversation. Sometimes that does happen in Japan, but do realize Japanese people are a little more reserved and a little more shy than people would be in Western countries. Um, Number one, this is because Japan is not um, a fluent English-speaking country. There is a few people here who can speak fluent English, but it is uncommon, it is more rare. And number two, people are a little bit shy about the little bit of English they do know. They don't want to mess up, they don't want to insult you, they don't want to make a big mistake when they're speaking to you. And it's understandable that you would be a little bit embarrassed to use a language that is rarely ever used in your country. Number one thing when you meet friends, be ready to speak Japanese rather than English. Study as much as you can before you come over. Try to hit those books as much as you can. If you have a friend who speaks Japanese, practice with them. All the books in the world will not make you a great Japanese speaker. It's the actual use of conversation that will heighten your skill. So that is my biggest recommendation, is if you get a chance to practice Japanese before you come over, definitely do it. Number two, make sure you're not going to talk about your own country a lot, okay? Maybe they'll ask you some questions, be happy to answer them, answer anything they would want to know about your country, but do not compare countries. Do not talk about how things are better in your country, about how you do it differently. They know that. They know there's different things. They don't want to hear about how much better your country is. This is Japan. They like their country. It's understandable. You like your country. That's understandable. Do not compare the two. There are pluses and minuses to every country. Try not to be aggressive with your own country's ways. Next, I would say try to bring conversation into situations where it's more comfortable. People do not walk up to strangers on the street here and begin a conversation. People don't do it usually in restaurants or even game centers. Your bars and your clubs are going to be a comfortable situation. You know, people have been drinking a little, or they're expecting to be engaged in a conversation. If someone looks shy or someone looks a little bit secluded from the rest, they're probably not ready to have a conversation, okay? Not everybody is ready to chat here, and not everybody is hyper interested in whatever country you come from. Also realize that sometimes gaijin can be seen as a little more aggressive or seen as a little more unpredictable to the Japanese people, since there isn't a high population of gaijin here. It is a still very reserved island, so they're not expecting a lot of what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and that might make them hesitant, that might make them nervous, and even a little stressed during a conversation. If you're going to ask someone for directions, that's okay. Japanese people are very helpful when it comes to directions. I've never been turned down. But just everyday conversation, trying to make friends, approach the situation when it's comfortable, and don't be surprised if people are a little bit hesitant or a little bit shy. My next question comes from those of you who watch a lot of videos about Japan on YouTube and maybe documentaries. Why are Japanese people always wearing those masks in everything I watch? Well, in Japan, many people wear the masks out of courtesy when they are sick or have hay fever, so as not to spread whatever virus or disease they have. Recently, with H1N1, also known as swine flu, it was actually required by some jobs that people wear the masks so as not to spread anything and begin a pandemic. Remember, this is a very close culture. Everyone lives very close to each other, and everyone is very crowded in the situations they have. So, if something becomes contaminated, it can spread very fast. Maybe Japan did freak out a little bit too much about swine flu, since no more people died around the world than any other flu that's ever existed. I would say probably about 80% of people in Japan were wearing these masks during the swine flu scare, and it was pretty incredible to see an entire train with people wearing masks, my entire job, people wearing masks, and luckily nothing happened, nothing spread. Maybe it's because they wear these masks, but you will see them always wearing it when, number one, they are sick or have a hay fever and do not want to spread it, or number two, there is a pandemic scare around the world. Another question I get a lot, what religions are practiced in Japan? I think I've spoken about this before, that there is Shintoism and Buddhism and a very, very, very small amount of Christianity. But remember, this country is 80% atheist. That means even though religions have existed in the past and were heavily practiced, now they're not really believed in or practiced too much. Still, a lot of traditions are upheld, such as cleaning one's grave, visiting temples during New Year's, and other traditions that are almost like fun traditions we would have for Christmas or Easter, or anything that, even though we're not religious, we might still participate just because it's fun and it brings family together. Pretty much almost any Japanese person you see on the street, if you ask them what religion they are, they would say they are atheist. There is Shintoism, there is Buddhism, and a very, very small clique of Christians, but think atheist. When you think Japan, think atheist. Alright, that's everything for number 15. Get ready for my next one, and until then, have a good one.